Welcome once again to the WrestleCord News Break for May 5th, 2026. Happy Cinco de Mayo. I'm your host, Ryan, and we're going to get into some of the news happening in the world of pro wrestling. Last night we had Monday Night Raw live from Omaha, Nebraska. This was a go-home show for Backlash. The opening match of the show saw J.D. McDonough with a shocking victory over his former Judgment Day partner and mentor, Finn Balor, in what was a hard-fought bout that ended with a hammer to the shoulder of Balor by Roxanne Perez, allowing J.D. McDonough to get the pinfall. The show also saw a vicious attack on Seth Rollins by Braun Breaker. These two will be going head-to-head this Saturday. Also on the show, we had Sol Ruca sign her Raw contract despite being interrupted by the Women's IC champion, Becky Lynch, who was left stuttering and eventually laid out on the mat by a Soul Snatcher. Speaking of Intercontinental Champions, we had Penta team with Javon Evans against Ethan Page and Rusev, where the latter were able to put their lust for the Intercontinental gold aside long enough to get an upset victory over the competition. We even saw Rusev celebrate the win with All Eagle afterwards. Nice to see some camaraderie in these unsure times. Another notable moment from the show involved an extremely cringe-worthy backstage segment where Braun Breaker does his version of a Seth Rollins impression, which was to hold his nose and quack like a duck. Which not only is a bad Seth Rollins impression, it's a bad impression of a duck. Reminds me of some chicken impressions I've seen before. A six-man tag bout had El Grande Americano alongside Bravo and Rayo take on Julio Credo, led by the original Grande Americano. It was this new threesome of original Bruto and Julio getting the win. That's a mouthful, folks. Joe Hendry once again serenaded the crowd with his rendition of Fire Logan Paul. Now I think that's a sentiment we can all get behind. After the impromptu solo performance, we saw Austin Theory try to get some revenge for his tag partner in a one-on-one bout with Hendry. The effort was rendered mute when Logan would jump into the affair, giving Joe Hendry the win by DQ. They would continue to work Joe before the Street Profits made the save for the second week in a row. The Vision's Braun Breaker would get in on the action, dishing out his own brand of punishment, which led to an assault by an enraged Seth Rollins. All that anger wasn't enough, however, as it would be Braun leaving Rollins writhing in agony on the mat from a spear. Obafemi's open challenge was answered by Akira Tozawa, or so it would seem. After a brief face-off, Akira would bow out and hand the opportunity to the much larger Otis. Despite the size increase in competition, this was easy work for the ruler, who would use the ropes to apply his sit-out powerbomb finisher for the 3 count. A cinematic-style sit-down between Io Sky and Asuka would end with Sky getting a face full of blue mist. Closing out the show, we had Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu signing their contracts for Backlash. And you guessed it, folks, it broke out into fisticuffs, with Jacob getting the better of the situation, putting Roman through the announce table. So that's right, folks, this Saturday, live on whatever current platform TKO is showing this nonsense, we have Backlash from Tampa, Florida. By the way, that recap was in no particular order, so don't blame me for any confusion you may have about the sequence of events. You watch the show if you're so interested, instead of leaving the hard work to me. Canadian sports host Emily Agard announced that she has signed with WWE, NXT to be more precise. It is currently unclear as to what her role will be in WWE's minor leagues. Emily Agard got her BA in Radio and Television Arts from Ryerson University before starting at her most recent role at Sportsnet, which is one of the biggest sports broadcasters in Canada. Speaking of Canadians, WWE's Chelsea Green has successfully undergone SVT surgery. That's supraventricular tracheotomy. I'm pretty sure I said that wrong, but you can't blame me much. I'm not a doctor. Chelsea has been out of action since earlier this year when she suffered an ankle fracture. We here at WrestleCord Network wish her a speedy recovery and can't wait to see her between the ropes again. Former WWF star Rikishi Fatu took to social media to talk about his departure from the Knox X Pro Academy and its affiliated wrestling promotion. This comes just off the heels of last year's controversial incident involving Raja Jackson, the son of former UFC star Rampage Jackson, viciously assaulting wrestler Psycho Sid. Prior to this, Knox X Pro had had a close association with the WWE ID program. It's not clear yet as to how this will impact the wrestling school and promotion at large. There's been a recent injury update involving AEW's Kyle Fletcher. At the end of March, then TNT champion Fletcher suffered what has been described as a meniscus injury during an episode of Collision, right before the Dynasty pay-per-view, which would end up seeing Kevin Knight win the vacated TNT belt. While there has not been much details emerging, it is said that Kyle Fletcher is a long way from returning to the ring, despite being spotted recently backstage at the May 2nd episode of Collision in Peoria, Illinois. The full card has been revealed for New Japan's Ignition to Dominion event taking place tomorrow in Karatsu. Headlining the show is Unbound Company's Yota Tsuji and Shingo Takagi versus IWGP Heavyweight Champion Callum Newman and Jake Lee from the United Empire. Also, we'll have Ryosuke Taguchi and Taiji Nakahara versus House of Torture's Yoshinobu Kanemaru and Sho. In more tag action, we have Ryohei Oiwa and Kosei Fujita of TMDK battling Yuya Uemura and Masatoru Yasuda. We get Goto Revolutionary Army of Hiroku Koto, Yoshihashi, and Tatsuo Matsumoto going against Toru Yano, Master Wato, and Yo. Further down the card, we have Yoshinobu Kanemaru and Sho versus Ryosuke Taguchi and Taisuke Nakanoru. Also, Ren Narita, Yujihiro Takahashi, and Dick Togo take on Bolton Oleg, Aaron Wolf, and Tiger Mask. Shota Umino and Tomoaki Hanma will take on El Desperado and Taishi. Then finally, rounding out that card, we have Yuto Ice, Oscar, Taiji Ishimori, Gato, and Daki Nagai from Unbound Company taking on United Kingdom's Hinari, Great-O-Khan, Francesco Akira, Jacob Austin Young, and Zane J. So another fun card in the lead up to June 14th's big Dominion show from Osaka Joe Hall. You can watch Ignition to Dominion live on the New Japan World streaming service. It starts at 4 a.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. Pacific here in the U.S. To close out our show, I'll give you folks a quick preview for tonight's NXT, which airs on the CW network at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. We'll have NXT's Women's Champion Lola Vice in action, teaming with AAA's Mystery Iguana against Izzy Dame and Nico Vance. Kelly Armstrong takes on Jada Parker. Jasper Troy battles Jackson Drake. And we'll get an appearance from Zarya for the first time since her win over Sol Ruka in their last woman standing match. With that, folks, we come to the end of today's WrestleCord news break. I'm Ryan signing off, and I hope to see you all again tomorrow.